I'm Jan Griffin. I'm Mr. Nottelmann's daughter, and I'm just here to say a few words about the new auditorium. Our family is so fortunate. The school district means the world to my dad. His mom and dad bought some property where South County now sits, and they were truck farmers. And so Lee May was a dirt road, and he would always tell me about walking down to St. John's School, which was the whole school district, and taking all of his classes in that one building, and it would be snow up to his rear end or whatever, and that's just how you went to school every day. He always said a lot of the kids, a lot of the boys in his class never got to go on and finish high school. A lot of them had to work the farms or work, and he was fortunate that his parents let him finish high school. I don't think my father could have become what he has without the strong upbringing, the great education, everything he got from being here.
He was a very gentle man, very gentle. You would never hear Mr. Nottelmann raise his voice. He was very respectful.
He's a very focused man. He was focused on providing and promoting music throughout this whole community. So I would call him focused, and he loved it.
He really, I think, felt that he needed to take care of this community, and that's what he did for years, even serving through his business and being such an advocate, not only for music and music students and the education of music, but just for the South County area, and in particular, the Melville School District that he loved so much. Mr. Nottelmann was about people. He was more so about people and service to people than he was selling an instrument. That was the byproduct of taking care of people.
He always was in music, and he was in a little band, and he played the banjo. And my parents married very young. I didn't come along for 18 years. So finally at that point in time, he said to my mom, I guess I need a real job. So he opened a music store.
Had my first guitar bought in his store by my father. And I went to the Nottelmann Music Company to take lessons. I had some years where I was in business after starting my teaching career in the Hazelwood District. And I won't mention the music business that I worked for, but they had 9 music stores at the time. I remember being told by the owner of this company and the vice president, now, for our South County store, don't waste your time there. There's a little family mom and pop operation that has the South sewn up. I will never forget that. And that was Mr. Bill Nottelmann.
He was so patient with the parents who sometimes they'd bring back the instrument was damaged, and he was always very, very agreeable.
I might have a guest conductor coming in who said, you're going to need this. I could pick up that phone and check my number on this, 631-1486. Haven't dialed that number for years, but that's the Nottelmann store. And Mr. Nottelmann, if he wasn't there, he'd be there immediately, and whatever it was, I'd have it.
And I don't know that any other companies were doing that. They were like immediately right out, helping you at school, bringing supplies, asking you, and it wasn't like you're on a set schedule. He was ready to come out immediately and help you with your program.
It's what we do. It's all we know how to do. We have to do it the way my father started it. We've expanded on it, but we've had to do it the way he started it.
Yes, he had a good business. Yes. And if he didn't have a good business, he wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that he did. So I'm all about success. But in turn, he gave an awful lot back.
I worked for the Melville School Foundation when I was assistant superintendent here, and Bill and I worked together to establish a program called TAP, Tutoring Accelerates Progress. And Bill he really got out front. We went to schools, talked to teachers, and what it did was to pay teachers a stipend to tutor kids before and after school.
The Nottelmann Scholarship has been given out in both high schools every year. We were doing it, when I was still here, and I've been retired a few years now. So over the years, I've known many of these students, and many of them become educators. So it's one of those, I refer to them as those exponential benefits that pay it forward.
His legacy is Mr. Music Man of South County, and Mr. Civic-minded, a man with great wisdom, who cared about the people and respected the community greatly.
Couldn't be more fitting naming a building after him. He was certainly Mr. Music Man in this community, and to name the Performing Arts Center after him is a wonderful thing.
He's just so rich with the history of the Melville School District, and he's been such a part of it. You know, so to me it makes perfect sense for that legacy to be honored.
I just think it's so appropriate that this place is being named after Mr. Nottelmann, that after all his years, that he gets something that'll keep his name up there forever.
I think in the day he'd always dream that someday they might build the auditorium, and maybe somebody would recognize him a night or something. His name on it, it means other people realize what he's done.
Thank you. It's adjusted for a tall person. Thank you very much. Darn that World Series. We were hoping for many more tonight, but we also knew that we were competing with the World Series. So I want to say a few additional things. Nice video, huh? Yeah. The part that is so important to me, the references in there, everybody was so appropriate to be in that video, the people talking, Don and Aurelia, and of course Jan. But what is so important is for folks to know that Mr. Music Man, yes, but really Mr. South County and Mr. Melville. I've never in my life, and I've known Mr. Nottelmann since I think about 1974, never have I ever met someone that is such an advocate for the South County area, and specifically the Melville School District, and he's such a storyteller. I mean, I'd have to say that the majority of the stories that he's entertained me with are not often about the store, and not often about music, or I worked for him as a child in his store. After I took lessons there, I taught lessons in his store. But it's what he knows about the Melville School District. There's nothing that he doesn't know about this school district. He knows all the secrets, and you know, over the years, not only was he really the first real band director in the Melville School District, he was kind of a de facto assistant superintendent, because many of our early superintendents relied on him as a community person and an advocate, a businessman that really had a pulse on the community. So I am extremely thrilled that this was so warmly welcomed by everyone. I haven't heard one person ask, well, why'd you name it that? Not one person. The board voted unanimously, and you know we have a very diverse board, but it's really neat when independent thinkers come together and agree on something that's really, really powerful. And there was just no question about this. It was a unified vote. So that is exciting for us. It's exciting for the Melville School District. And I do want to, real quick, let me recognize that Jan Gerfen, Mr. Nottelmann's daughter, is here. Stand up, Jan. Jan and her husband Dennis, who have always been synonymous with the Nottelmann store. As a kid, I remember going in and watching Dennis fix instruments. So it's really great to still have them here carrying on that advocacy. They take care of us. They are so patient and reliable when it comes to service for our music students, and they help so many kids. Even like myself, be able to pursue music. I was a band director before I went into administration, And I remember, I can talk all night, and I won't, I promise. Yeah, they gave me an auditorium and a microphone. And, good for me, bad for you. I still see Mr. Nottelmann quite a bit. He happens to reside in the nursing home where my mother resides, so I get the pleasure of seeing him from time to time. And I remember when for a brief amount of time, or a chunk of my career, I worked in the Rockwood School District out in West County. And I remember at some point seeing, I think I saw both Dennis and Mr. Nottelmann, and I questioned why they never expanded out to West County. And I didn't really get the answer then, but you know, as a much wiser person now, I absolutely do. And it's all about what this is all about. He was really interested in this area. He did end up expanding down into right across the river into Arnold, but had no interest in just putting up a bunch of stores and becoming this icon music dealer. He probably could have done that. Don's nodding his head. I think he agrees with me. He would have. But that wasn't the goal. It was about South County, and really in his heart, we know it's about Melville. So one more round of applause from Mr. Nottelmann. And by the way, for a couple of reasons, he's not here tonight. One, that his granddaughter was married over the weekend and she is on her honeymoon, so she didn't want to miss it. Second of all, he's had a busy couple of days with Jennifer getting married, so we thought that it'd be better to, Jan thought, and I definitely agreed, that it'd be better to bring him out in one of our other concerts in November. So we're kind of letting them look at the calendar and work around it, but he will make a visit out here to get to see it in person. I've shown him pictures. He cries every time I show him something about the auditorium and tell him something about it. He's very, very proud in the right way. So anyway, we're thrilled about that. Just want to ask that every time we have an audience in this space for this first year, we're going to ask for a lot of patience. This space is so long overdue. To have a high school nowadays, especially, we're the 20th largest district in the state, and our high schools do not have curricular spaces for the performing arts. That is crazy, folks. That is just absolutely crazy. And I'll take that argument on with anybody. It just doesn't make sense. If you know anything about the mission that I and my staff really push in our district, there's a couple of overriding paramount pieces. And you may have seen recently, I published a concept in the call about making sure that we identify sparks in kids, those things that help them fall in love with life. And usually we know that kids who succeed, they find those things in their high school years, sometimes younger. They fall in love with them, and that's what makes them tick. And that's what connects them, and that's what makes them successful student, and then on to success in the world. And there's been a number of studies done where they teach students about what sparks are, and then they ask students about their sparks. And you know, the overriding #1 thing that connects kids to life and to their school experience is the performing arts. The #1 thing. And if that, in this day and age, when we're trying so hard to work with kids that bring so many extraordinary circumstances to school with them every day, it's a different world we live in, I cannot even fathom that there are school districts out there that decide, for whatever reason, when they go to cut things, that the first thing they cut is what should be the most important thing, paramount over everything else. So this is taking stock in that concept. We're not done, folks. We're not done. I will not be done. I won't rest until we have a similar space at Oakville High School as well. That needs to happen. That will happen. And as long as they don't run me out of town before that, we will get that done. I make that promise. A lot of people said this wasn't possible. I always knew it was, and here we are. So I ask a little bit for patience. When you're at performances over this first part of the year, we may fumble a little with the lighting. We may fumble a little bit with getting people on and off stage. It's exciting for us, but everybody, all the teachers, they come in and their eyes are huge and they can't wait, and then they think about it and they get nervous because we haven't had this before. So it's just new territory, and we just ask you to be patient with us. We really wanted to have a night like this, even though it lined up with the World Series. We didn't, it is what it is. But we're trying to take some of the pressure off of the entire community showing up for some of our November concerts that are full-blown concerts. So that's really what tonight was, and we're thrilled that you came out. So what we're going to do, in just a minute, I'm going to introduce Amy Meshke and the High School Strings. What a perfect group. Both Oakville and Melville High School students get to be the first in front of an audience, the first performance in this space. So I was telling the kids on the stage a little bit ago that that's history. It's going to go down in history. You're the first group to perform in front of an audience on the William B. Nottelmann stage. So that's exciting. It's an exciting night. So it's really just it's a short, I think the strings are going to basically do one song. And when we're done, I know that when you came in, some of you looked around with the lights up. We want to encourage you to go everywhere in the auditorium. Even go back and look at the green room, look at the dressing rooms, look at the spaces back in the back. Come up on stage if you want. And come look at the beautiful piano that I have on consignment sitting back there that we're going to use at the upcoming concerts. It's a gorgeous 6'1" Kawai, and it sounds beautiful. So I should have John play us a tune. And I think we also have some refreshments out front. We did that at the end because we don't want them in here. Okay? And so on your way out, grab some, mill around, and we think that maybe when we're done too, especially I'll say this with not a big crowd, we're going to drop that screen back down and see if we can fire up the baseball game if you just want to kind of hang out. So without further ado, I'll bring out Mrs. Meshke and the High School Strings. You said one song, but we'll take an encore if you got one. Okay, so that won't work, but not to put you on the spot. One more round of applause. Strings, this really is an extra special group because, as you know, Strings has been a program that our various Strings teachers, Amy kind of being the lead in that, have really kept this Strings program alive through some difficult situations because it's more of a program in some schools, less in other schools, but it's been kept in place to where we actually have a high school orchestra, not something that this district has always had for many years. So we're going to keep improving that, and I'd love to eventually see a full-fledged Strings program in our curriculum from elementary school on up. And we're going to work on that. So we're going to allow them to exit, and again, this is kind of just free time. You can hang out. We'll see if we can get the game fired up. You can walk back and look. Once they're off, if you want to come up, and we'll open the curtains. If you want to come up and look behind stage, get an idea of the catwalk up here, and just, if you want to go up there, we're probably going to take you up there too. So just relax and enjoy the space, and thank you very much for coming tonight, and thank you, Strings. We appreciate it.